So now I'm walking out to the airplane. It's my first time looking at the plane. And people often ask me, hey Mossy, what do you do for your pre-flight flow? Not the pre-flight inspection, just when you come out to the airplane, is there something you do different? Well, actually, yes, there is. So I'm gonna fly today single pilot, solo. So this is the kind of order and what I do with all my years on flying a Cirrus SR22. First thing I like to do is drop my flight bag down on the co-pilot side. Yes, the co-pilot side. And now that I've dropped my flight bag, I'm gonna squat right up here next to the plane, and I wanna first take a look at the brake wear indicators. I can see over there, that one is white. Usually I'll stick my head over down here, and that one's white. Why? Because if the brake wear indicators are not white, I'm not flying. The brake wear indicators were installed on the Cirrus probably about 5 years ago when they had a bunch of brake failure incidents. So it's pretty logical. If the brake wear indicators don't come up as positive that I can actually fly, well then why spend all the time pre-flighting, right? So now that I've verified that, what I want to do is take a look in my fuel tank. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to need fuel. Now obviously whatever fuel's in here is probably going to be close to what's in the left tank. Oh, I'm still going to look in the left tank, but now would be the time that I would call the FBO and say, can you send over the fuel truck? Why? Because it takes usually sometimes 10, 15 minutes to get the fuel truck out here, and I can use that time to pre-flight while I've already ordered the fuel. So now that I've done that, I will go up and unlock the co-pilot side door. Now I'm going to walk around the plane here. I've already checked the fuel on that side. I'm going to come around. I want to look at my oil straight off the bat. Same reason why. If I need to order oil, I want to order it now. Again, sometimes it takes the FBO a while to find the correct oil. Oil looks good. Come around, check the fuel in my left tank. It should be similar to what I saw in the right tank. Okay, so I do need fuel. And while I'm here, I'm going to take the pitot cover off. It's a simple rule for this. The reason being, you don't ever want to apply power to the airplane with the pitot cover on. I'll leave the door just like this, and now I'm going to go back around onto the co-pilot side. Remember, that was the reason I dropped my flight bag on the co-pilot side. Now here's going to be something probably pretty unique that you haven't seen before. I'm actually going to climb into the airplane and actually test my co-pilot side brake pedals. I'll tell you why in a minute, but let's climb on up here. So what I like to do is I like to jump into the co-pilot seat, especially when I'm flying single pilot, solo, because I don't have a co-pilot to test my brakes. And what I want to do is slide forward here and test my brake pressure. Why? Because the brakes on the Cirrus will actually fail on the co-pilot side first. If the brake fluid were to drain out of the system, you can see that the master cylinders on the co-pilot side will be the first to empty. So now that I've tested my brakes, what I like to do, if you have a good back, and I will caution you, make sure you've got a good back, I like to set my parking brake here. So now I apply the brakes, and I lean in and set the parking brake. Now that I've got the parking brake set, I commence with what probably many Cirrus pilots are familiar with, the initial cockpit inspection. So my battery 2 switch goes on. We make sure we don't get the flap light. I turn my battery 1 on. There's the flap light. I now put my flaps down one stage at a time, testing the limit switches. Flaps to 50. There's the light. Flaps to 100. There's the light. And now I will turn all my lights and pitot heat on and commence the exterior inspection. So lights and pitot heat. Now I get out of the airplane and I walk around and expeditiously I'm checking my lights and my pitot tube. These lights look good. Landing light looks good. These lights look good. And with the palm of my hand, I check the pitot tube. And then now, I'll turn everything off. And then while I'm here, I'll check the circuit breakers, make sure the actual panel is attached. And once I've done that, I'll now do this flow check here where I check my circuit breakers, my alternate air, and my alternate static source. And I like to actually actuate them when I check them. Sometimes you'll fly somebody's Cirrus and you go to actuate the alternate air and it'll be stuck. You know why? Because it hasn't been actuated in years. Now I'll commence with the actual POH, pre-flight inspection of the airplane.